So congratulations, you just entered contract, you put in your 10% deposit, you're signed up, and now we're at the next step, which is the board application. The first item that you should be working on are your reference letters. There's your landlord reference letter in all likelihood, where you're currently renting or living, or your managing agent if you're moving from a co-op or condo to another co-op or condo. So you want to make that point of contact now so you have that in hand and they can work on it. And then there's also your social and business references. If you're a single person, then you may be looking at 2 of these each, or maybe 3 each. If you're a couple, sometimes it could be looking for 2 or 3 just for the couple for both social and business. Sometimes it's from each of you, but start wrangling these folks. And the idea here is to try and connect depending on which board. I think most boards on the whole aren't expecting you to get a letter of recommendation from the CEO of Goldman Sachs. But I think the top tier referrals are probably going to be leaders within their industry, perhaps religious leaders. I think a great pocket is anyone that you know that currently lives in the building that can speak to you being a nice person, that could talk a little bit about your history of how you know each other. So that's the idea here behind the reference letters that you're going to obtain. I have a series of reference letters here that I usually send to folks, and it just includes some tips and some examples of what you should be looking for and what they should be including. So we'll just go through some of those here. Okay, that source of recommendation, which is important. Okay, it can't be your relative, unfortunately. Uncle Jimmy isn't going to pass muster with the board. Okay, you want them to be a little bit longer in length and, of course, free of grammar and typos. So here I have several pages worth of samples that should be able to throw off some inspiration. And the goal here is explaining that they'd be great for your building, giving some context about how you know each other, giving some insight into what they like to do personally. So it gives just some more color about the person while giving insight into the relationship. And you can see, just by clicking through some of these, how diverse they feel. Some of them are a little shorter, there's different text, there's different fonts. You know, one thing you definitely don't want to do is pull from a sample and give it to the same, give it to all of your references, because then it's going to come back potentially and they might all sound similarly if in the event that they should be drawing a little too much inspiration from your example. So just make sure that you have a nice diverse array. I always recommend getting an extra 1 or 2 so that you could really choose the best one. And I'll be sharing this list with you just so that you have a feel for how these should read and the general sense of length and what they should be speaking to. Okay, of course, they should be speaking to you being a great person, what your personal interests are, how you two know each other. Is it back from college? And then obviously, maybe not obviously, but you want to have that person's contact information listed as well. So there's some insights into the references that you should be obtaining. All the buildings are going to be calling for slightly different requirements, unless you're talking about a Fifth Avenue style apartment or Park Avenue. It does not necessarily have to be, Ann Winter who's referring you. Sometimes it could just be a strong professional colleague, or not even sometimes, most of the time. If we are talking about one of those more elite co-ops, we could definitely get into that a bit further, but hopefully that answers all questions. If you have any more, feel free to reach out to me anytime. All my contact information is here, and I look forward to connecting. Thanks.